Hey everyone, Mythicodium here. Pathfinder released their core preview on Monday, July 24th, so I think we should take a look at it. As many of you know, I've absolutely fallen in love with the Pathfinder 2e, and I'm very excited to see where they plan to take the remastered version. You can see our Kingmaker series live on Twitch and here on YouTube. Links will be down below. I'd love to hear your opinions on what you think about the changes and comment below. So let's hop into it. So they released the core preview in response to their release of Rage of Elements, their new rulebook. I will be reviewing that as soon as I get a chance to, but unfortunately, I do not have the PDF yet, but that's neither here nor there. So we will go in and take a quick peek. So the first thing we see is there are rules changes. A lot of this stuff we already covered in my Pathfinder series when they talked about it at PaizoCon and a few other places. So a lot of this stuff is relatively already out there, but we'll go over a few of the things. So they've replaced some concepts. One of the main ones that's going to take a little bit for people to get used to is attribute modifiers. So we used to have ability scores, which were your strength, con, wisdom, and charisma. They're now referred to as attribute modifiers. So the plus part of your modifier is what they are looking at. No one really cares that you have an 18 strength. It's more the +4 attribute modifier that is more mechanically sound that you need. So they've gotten rid of it. They've also got rid of the word ability because you have abilities in game. So having ability scores just didn't work, or having ability modifiers didn't work, ability flaws, etc. So they just decided to get rid of that. And honestly, that's fine with me. Attribute is more than fine. If you ever need to know how to figure out your attribute really quick, subtract 10, divide by 2. That's your round down. That is your attribute modifier. So they replace concepts such as the ability modifier is now the attribute modifier, and most of the changes were in a result of the D&D OGL debacle and them wanting to move completely away from anything Dungeons and Dragons related to make sure that you don't have to worry about future proofing any legal issues they may have. And I understand that, and I have no problem with it. Changing names is minor. Names change all the time. Words change all the time. This is absolutely fine with me. I'm not overly concerned. So again, ability modifier is now attribute modifier. Ability scores are gone. Abyss is Outer Rifts. Aquan is now Thalassic. Attack of Opportunity is now called Reactive Strike. This one I actually really do like because you already have reactive shields. And it's easier to explain to someone that you're reactively doing something than saying an attack of opportunity. It's a lot easier, at least for me, mentally, to think of it as a reactive strike. You're reacting to it, same as reacting with your shield. So I like that one. They go through a whole bunch of different things like City of Brass. Counteract levels, now counteract ranks. Sustain a spell is just now sustain. Divine ability, again, they're getting rid of the word ability on so many things, so it's just divine attribute. Flat-footed is now off guard. I love that. I really actually do. You catch someone off guard. It is just an easier thought than you catch them flat-footed. A lot of people don't understand what that means, but catching them off guard is much better, as my cat decides he wants to play. Focus spell component is now Locus. That one's odd. Whatever. Material planes, just the universe. Methods are now scamps. The picture of them are absolutely adorable. We'll take a look at that a little later. And everyone's going to want to have a little scamp in their life, even though they don't realize the utter chaos that will bring. Mithril has been changed to Dawn Silver. Again, I don't think that was a really needed change. Mithril was in Lord of the Rings. So again, it's just future-proofing himself from anyone trying to sue him for something. Negative is now Void. So you take void damage instead of negative damage, which is fine. Negative plane is now just the void. For positive damage, now vitality. I'm ambivalent about that one. I'm not a huge fan of it. You're taking vitality damage. Okay. That one's a little cringy. Spell level is now spell rank, which is much different. Sustaining a spell is now just sustain. And tools are now called a tool kit. Again, it should make things a little bit easier. Attribute boosts, again, that's just the way they're getting rid of the attribute score. So attribute boost is fine. Attribute flaws, same thing. Alignment, we already discussed this. They're getting rid of alignments. They're getting rid of chaos, lawful, neutral, evil, and good. You now have edicts and anathemas. And I think, honestly, this is a little bit better. Your character follows these edicts and anathemas and just be your character, right? If you are trying, you don't have to justify being good. You don't have to justify being evil. You're just you, and you don't have to have people, other players or your DM saying, well, that's kind of against your alignment. But definitely if it's against your edict or goes along with your anathema, that makes sense. So holy, unholy, and sanctified. Basically, it just boils down to holy is good, unholy is evil, and sanctification is what clerics and champions and other people who follow their gods use to either be holy or unholy. Spirit damage, we already talked about that. That's the new thing that replaces your alignment damage that used to be in game. Spirit damage now says directly affecting the spiritual essence of a creature. Spirit damage can damage a target projecting its consciousness or possessing another creature, even if the target body is somewhere else. The possessed creature isn't harmed by the blast, which is really cool when a ghost tries to possess someone. The spirit damage doesn't harm creatures that have no spirit, such as constructs, but this will make spells like Divine Lance much more appealing. Fast changes. So again, there's going to be a lot of stuff change, creature stat blocks, alignment damage, DD sanctification, that sort of stuff that'll be in there. And again, it's stuff that we already knew was coming. So that's, to me, not a big deal. Dedication feats. So formally dedication feats for archetypes listed, special entry to note you need to take 2 other feats from the archetype before taking a new dedication feat. Those rules are now in the rules for the trait itself. This makes them consistent and avoids needing to include repetitive text, which is great. I love that. Druids no longer have an anathema against using metal, which makes sense. It is from the earth. So why they were always against metal is beyond me. I know our druid in our party, Aklodava, is absolutely thrilled. She'll be able to use some metal items. It's something we may even just roll into at this point and just get past it. So spells now have a spell rank. They got rid of level because you have a level, then you have to go up a level, down a level. Your character has levels. You have all these different things with levels, and it's just too many levels in the game. Giant in the Playground, Order the Stick, had a great joke about going down a level. They need to go down a level to get up a level. They need higher levels to go down levels because the lower levels are tougher than the higher. Anyway, the joke is amazing. And this will change it. It's just a spell rank. So that'll help. School removal. Again, this, I know there's some weird stuff going online. People are so concerned about them nerfing wizards because they changed the spells, but they changed the schools. But honestly, they haven't really changed much. They've now made you go into a curriculum, so like a war curriculum or other things like that, and it's just flavor behind it. I mean, I know there are certain specialties, or you can, really kind of hone in on, your old evocation or conjuration, where now you just don't. And you get an extra cantrip from your curriculum. So you're going to have basically curriculums. The nice thing about this, which people really should focus more on, is the fact that they can expand this concept very easily. They can expand to have more schools. They can have whatever school they want. They're not worried about the 8 evocation, conjuration, illusion, all that stuff, which is great. They do have a example here, the School of Mentalism, which has a curriculum cantrips of Daze and Figment. Sure, Figment's a new spell we'll get into. First level, Dizzying Colors, which is your color spray. And Sleep, Sure Strike, which is your True Strike. So a lot of things you're going to see in here have changed names just to keep away from the OGL stuff and just make it more their own. And again, I'm all for it. Focus spells. Now, one of the things they did clarify is that when you have focus spells, you still can only have a maximum of 3 focus points. They did clarify that. I want to say it was yesterday, the 25th, I believe. Said yes, the designers say the maximum you can have is still 3 focus. You can now refocus, and every 10 minutes you get 1 point back. So if your party wants to do a short rest for 30 minutes, you can gain all 3 focus back. You don't have to blow your focus and then only get 1 back, because you can only have 1 the way it currently is, which is really nice. Several classes have the refocus feat, would allow you to get more focus points back per short rest. Obviously, that's going to have to change in the remastered book, which is why they're remastering all this stuff. And so it'll be interesting to see how they do that with certain classes. Their new format for spell blocks. So as you can see, it's just a name. It just has the traits underneath it. So there's no longer somatic, verbal, or material components in there. It'll say if it has, manipulate or concentrate, prediction. It's neat. So they have the cast time. It has your traditions, and then it has your spell in it. If it doesn't require a casting, it doesn't have, if it doesn't require 1 action or 2 or 3, it just has the cast time in it. If it has just a cast time, like Blazing Bolt, which is your old Scorching Ray, it shows you have a 1 to 3 action, and you see down inside the stat block, it doesn't say cast 1 to 3 actions, because again, repetitive. And when you really think about it, removing one line out of every spell will save dozens of pages of text because there are just one or two spells. All right, the next few pages are set for the new spells. So again, Blazing Bolt is your Scorching Ray. Breathe Fire is Burning Hand. Cleanse Cuisine would be your Purify Food and Drink. Detect Magic, still Detect Magic. Entangling Flora now has the wood section in it, which Rage of Elements now introduced metal and wood as elements, so that's really cool. Environmental Endurance is Endure Elements. Falling Stars is your new and improved Meteor Swarm at level 9. I say new and improved because it now adds Sonic as air bursts, Asteroids as fire, Comets as cold, or Plasma electricity. Does more variety of damage when you bring it down instead of, you know, someone who is immune to flame just basically scoffs at your 9th level spell. That kind of sucks when you're a 18th level caster. Figment is your ghost sounds, and Minor Illusion is basically what this is. So Fire Shield is an updated spell. Fire Shield used to engulf you in flames. Now it literally is a fiery shield that is in front of you. You can use raise your shield action with it, and you can gain a +1 circumstance bonus to your AC. The biggest thing is you can use the shield block reaction with the Fire Shield, which has hardness 10, is immune to fire, kind of obvious, and has 40 hit points with no broken threshold, which is extremely important. So giving you an additional 40 health is pretty decent. Howling Blizzard is your Cone of Cold. Ignition is your new 2-action cantrip. You snap your fingers and point at a target, which begins to smolder, making a spell attack roll against target's AC, dealing 2d4 fire damage on a hit. If the target is within your melee reach, you can choose to make a melee spell attack with your flame instead of a ranged spell attack, which increases the damage to d6s. So that's great if you are in melee and you need to reach out and punch someone. I might as well do it with a flaming fist. Interplanar Portal, Invoke Spirits, Know the Way. So we see all these different ones. Again, I'll have links to this down below. You can go through it. I'm not going to sit here and go through every single spell because there's a lot, but you can see Mystic Armor is the Mage Armor, etc., etc. And you can see all the different Revealing Lights is what used to be Fairy Fire. And you can see all this different stuff. Runic Weapon is Magic Weapon. See the Unseen. Tailwind is Long Strider. Tangle Vine. Yeah, so there's so many different versions, or not different versions, but updated words for each one. Once we get into page 12, we get into the items. Again, items have a new format. So the item stat blocks have a few changes in the you'll see in the GM core. Similar spells, they no longer require you to refer to a list of components, instead placing the relevant traits, the active entry. So you have Invested and Primal for the Clawed Bracers. You have the Mesmerizing Opal. You see the Shark Tooth Charm, all that stuff. Creatures are also shown on this page, and you can see things, which is the interesting one is the monster's ability of grab, knockdown, and push have been changed in the remaster. They say it's mostly to benefit PCs who might get feats or other ways to resist the listed abilities that didn't function well due to the previous versions working automatically. So there was no opposed rolls before. If something hit you, it just grabbed you. That actually really caught me off guard as a GM when I was playing Kingmaker with my group. Creatures would hit and it just was grabbed, and I'm like, well, where's the grab action? I'm like, wait, no, it's just automatic. They don't have to do anything else. They just have to hit, and it was usually bad for the players. So change shape is now an action. Grab is an action. So the effect is, if used after a strike, the monster attempts to grapple the creature using the body part it attacked with. This attempt neither applies nor counts towards the creature's multiple attack penalty. So they still get to hit. They still get to use their full modifier to do the grab. And then if they miss with the grab, they can attack again, but it doesn't give their multiple attack penalty for the grab, but it does take an action. So it does take a lot more resources away from the monsters, and honestly, I have no problem with that. They start getting into different previews of genies and other stuff. Again, they removed a lot of the OGL descriptions and text to kind of make it their own. The Scamp. Look at that little guy. He's so cute. Scamps take place the elemental planes. They used to be mephits, and now they're not. And these things are going to be so adorable. I know for a fact when Carly sees them that she will want to make them her pet and hug them and squeeze them and not realize just how annoying these little guys can be, which can be damn funny. So they have genies in here. They have Jan in here. They go through all the different things because these are all inside the range of elements. So they basically just show you that part of the book, which is fine. So you can see, and again, this is why they did it, is because it was in range of elements. So they're bringing these creatures into this preview. So you can see also what the new stat block looks like. You can see that they have like the burning grasp, they can change shape, they have the combat grab, so they make a strike. If the strike hits, they can now grab with a free hand, and it does take an action, which is great. I have no problem with that. And that is the end of it. So again, a nice primer for some of the changes. I think it'll be a good little start to what we've seen. I know there's already been a lot of chatter online about the fact that spells don't have the verbal trait in it. So everyone says now you can cast without having to speak. I'm pretty sure Paizo is going to have to step in and do something about that, because that is a big thing. Like, you get thrown under silence, but silence doesn't affect you anymore because there is no verbal trait under most of the spells. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But that's really it for the preview. Let me know again down in the comments things you are excited about, things you think they need to possibly work on or maybe go back to the drawing board on, and let's have some fun conversations about it. I'm super excited. I do like when games do change. I am happy with change. I have no problem with it. I've been through so many different editions of games. It's second nature to me that they change, and I think in Paizo's favor is they have a good standing with the community. We know that they're not trying to screw anyone over, and I think they're trying to do what is best for their game and future-proofing it and moving forward. But, you know, only time will tell, so I'd love to hear your comments. If you're finding these videos interesting, thank you. We'd love for you to like and subscribe down below. Ring the bell for new notifications on videos. I do try to post every Wednesday, but otherwise that's it. So thank you all for being here. In the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another Mythic episode. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.